Coffee is worldwide. It's not just consumed worldwide or traded worldwide now, but there's a deep history and roots that spread all across this country and across this planet. So, in Australia, I've heard that we have a native coffee up in Queensland. I haven't confirmed it, however, I have made it a little bit of my mission to, at some point, do a little bit of a road trip to try and find out if local tribes in that area had a ritual with said coffee. And if I can find this out and prove it, that would mean that the indigenous people of our land could very well be the oldest tribe of peoples to have consumed coffee. And I think that's pretty cool. However, if you date back about 400 years at this point, close to it, in Constantinople, 1633, Sultan Murad IV decided to ban coffee. He said that the first punishment would be a beating, and then after that there would be death. You would be thrown into the water. Did this stop people drinking coffee? God no. It actually increased the amount people drank coffee. They just did it behind closed doors. And then after he died, the law stayed on the rule books. However, many officials and governments decided to overlook it because it was actually a big market for Turkey to be able to make a lot of coffee and make a lot of money as well. So, today I'm going to be talking about a method of coffee that is by far one of the coolest. It won't really produce a very sweet, delicate cup. It'll be the exact opposite, a very full-bodied one. However, it will generally take the bitterness out of it. And well beyond that, it is by far one of the coolest methods of extraction that I have come across. It's a great conversation starter. So I've got it right here, and don't worry, I won't be throwing this one at the wall. Here is our coffee siphon. Now it's made up of a couple of different parts. There's two pieces that aren't in here right now. That is the Bunsen burner which sits underneath, and the filter that sits right here. So it's a cloth filter that wraps around a little bit of mesh, and it has a little like ball bearing chain thing that clips down the bottom here and holds it in place. So what you do is you put your water in this bottom chamber here, and you put your coffee in the top chamber there. You then put your Bunsen burner underneath. And then, which is the cool part, as it heats up, the water will boil and go through this middle chamber into the top chamber. The vacuum of the heat will keep it rising. Then once it's all in the top chamber there, you take off your lid and you give it a little bit of a stir. You let it sit for a couple of minutes, you stir a little bit more. There's a couple of different brewing methods that I'll be going over in a second. And then, when it's all good and ready, you take your Bunsen burner out. And then, all of the water will flow to the bottom, keeping your grinds up the top. And then you can remove this top chamber and pour your cup of coffee. So you can probably understand why it's such a cool method to look at. It's a very unique way of brewing coffee. It's definitely different from an AeroPress, even an espresso machine. Like, both of those are very cool, but nothing really uses like that form of vacuum to extract your brew. So it's actually made by a lady in Berlin in the 1800s, I think 1838 or so. And she put a patent on the market. It became a pretty popular hit because black coffee was pretty popular back then. People didn't really like the bitterness, and this was a good way to combat it. There's a couple of methods across America and Japan that I will be touching on in future episodes. I'll be doing some demonstrations of such. So if you like that and you want to see that, please make note of it and let me know, and I'll get it done ASAP.